Fishing trips anywhere, anytime. FishingBooker.com.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast.
I'm your host, Jared Van Hees, and we're here to become better habitat managers. Welcome to May, everybody. This is a great time of year. We have a great episode for you. We have Mr. Shawn Luchtel from Heartland Bow Hunter. Now, if you guys have watched hunting media on the Outdoor Channel or YouTube over the past 10 years, you've probably heard of the brand and show Heartland Bow Hunter. These guys, him and Mike Hunsucker, have been awesome, along with the rest of their team, and putting together very cinematic, well-produced hunting videos. Not just to get in the tree, shoot a deer, and hey, celebrate type videos. I'm talking full-blown production. I've been a fan of their stuff for well over 10 years. I even own a Heartland Bow Hunter hat from a long time ago. And I've been seeing some habitat content from them over the past couple of years, and I thought it'd be great. After hearing Mike over on Aaron Blasey's podcast, I thought I should give Shawn a call and see if you want to come on the podcast. And this is a great episode here with Shawn. We talk about all the habitat projects he's done. He's like us. He's into this stuff as much as the hunting. We talk about a couple different Missouri farms, and we talk about a Kansas farm. So we're moving out west, more in the Midwest than we talk about often here in Michigan. And we have a great habitat related podcast for y'all here today. So thank you so much for tuning in. I do want to say we really appreciate all the reviews on Apple, iTunes, and wherever you leave a review for our podcast. If you leave us a 5-star review and write something nice, let me know. Shoot me a screenshot. My buddy Nick Polano here in Michigan just did that the other day. Nick, I'm going to send you a decal. Free 5-inch Habitat Podcast decal coming your way, buddy. Thank you to everybody who keeps us going as the #1 habitat podcast in the world. We appreciate it, and we're going to keep grinding for you. More content here to come. I do want to say thanks to David today. I walked his property out in eastern Michigan. That little 20-acre piece is going to be badass when we're done with it. So another land plan in the books today. The last tour plan of the season. So I'm already booking into 2026. If you are interested, let us know. You'll hear more about that in the future. But we're booking full sooner and sooner every year. So I want to thank everybody, Gabe, Mike, and Kurt, all the guys this year for our projects. Jeff, a lot of land plans we did this year, and just very thankful for everybody to put their trust in me. And I hate to ramble in these things, so I'm going to wrap this up. Let's get into it with Shawn Luchtel from Heartland Bow Hunter. All things habitat management. Get out there, shoot a turkey, and be safe.
Guys, if you do not have a saddle yet from Latitude Outdoors, you're missing out, and I urge you to go check them out. We are working with Latitude again this year, and their gear is my favorite gear to hunt out of and hunt with. All over the Michigan, all over Illinois, wherever I'm going, I'm rocking the Ranger 22 backpack and my full saddle setup, sticks, the whole gambit. Right now, LatitudeOutdoors.com is running an outlet collection. They're calling it 30 to 35% off. I've never seen a discount that heavy on this stuff. I urge you to go over to LatitudeOutdoors.com, check them out, and get yourself in a saddle. They go to a lot of different trade shows too if you want to try one out. I ran into one of theirs over at J Sporting Goods in Gaylord, Michigan. They had them on the shelf there. So if you want to get one in your hands and mess around with it first, always a cool idea. We gave away a couple at the Deer Hunter Collective the other day here in Michigan, but I'm not hunting out of anything else. Even if I didn't partner with them, I'd still be hunting out of their gear. Matter of fact, before we signed up again this year, I was like, I'm hunting out of this stuff no matter what. So it's my favorite gear to hunt out of, mobile. I'm going to set up my HB40 to be able to hunt mobile, as well as my blinds for the kids, and have this thing dialed in. Guys, Latitude Outdoors, look them up. Check out the outlet. Get yourself a saddle. Like I said, I've been watching you for quite a long time on, well, now it's YouTube, but before that, Outdoor Channel, and you're still on there, I think, as well. But I guess for anybody who hasn't heard of Heartland Bow Hunter, give us a background, who you are, how you kind of came up with the idea, and just kind of where you started in this whole bow hunting and habitat thing, and then we'll kind of progress as we go on here.
Yeah, so I'm Shawn Luchtel, and Mike and I started Heartland Bow Hunter, gosh, back in like 2007-ish, right in there. And Mike and I grew up together. So we first met in middle school, and we just obviously navigated towards one another because we both enjoyed hunting, and we talk about it and stuff, but we didn't first hunt together till probably high school, I think it was, when we could both drive. That was, I remember, where we were like, oh yeah, we should hunt together sometime, since now we can, or both on our own for the most part. And he played football, and so during the fall, he only had, a limited amount of time to go hunting when I could hunt all fall because I wasn't playing sports. And man, I was just out there hunting all the time, telling him about my stories, and be like, oh yeah, football's almost over. And then once football season was over, I want to say it was definitely November, and that's when he could start to hit it pretty hard. And so we'd hunt here and there together, but not with a camera until probably, I would say, our senior year. Right in there, we started to film our hunts a little bit, just because no reason really. I would say it was Mike that was bringing his camera out there, his little handy cam. He'd strap it to his bow sometimes, or like we'd sit together turkey hunting and film that. And then the more we did it, the more we just started to like it and do it more often. And that was about the same time when people were starting to put their hunts on the internet a little bit. I mean, I think YouTube was maybe just launching, if not even there yet. People were mainly putting them on their websites if they had the bandwidth. And so anyhow, we started getting a little more serious with it in college. We planned our college schedules around our hunting schedule. We would take Tuesday, Thursday classes so we could hunt, the majority of the week. And we both stayed pretty local to home. And then from there, that was kind of where Heartland Bow Hunter started. And we started with the website, and our goal was to mainly just put this stuff on TV someday. And I want to say it was right around 2008, 2009 when we first got on TV, and that was, I think, the Man channel maybe, which is obviously no longer around. And then we eventually worked our way up to Sportsman's channel, and then to the Outdoor channel. And we've been on the Outdoor channel since, gosh, probably like 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. And it's been awesome. And now with YouTube, obviously exploding, our content is everywhere, and social media. So we're still on TV, but yeah, we put our content everywhere and try to keep ourselves open to as many platforms as possible. But with the hunting and the filming and the videography, that's become a huge passion of mine. Obviously, the video side. Well, first off, hunting, and then the video side came along. And Mike and I both probably owe that to our friend Trevor Hawkins, who used to produce our show. And he was not a hunter. He's hunted some in his life, but definitely not his main passion. It was always videography and filmography. And he kind of passed that on to us, I would say. We saw like what he enjoyed so much, and he started producing our show in, like our second or third season. And that's what opened up our door to kind of tell the story of what we were doing, and really just created the niche for what we have in the outdoor space. Because if we didn't have a passion to produce and show like the full story of what we were doing, our personalities, I don't think we're going to actually carry us through to like be successful within the hunting industry. So I owe a lot of that to Trevor for being there and helping us with the production side. And so what I'm getting to is I started with hunting, it went into videography, and I still love both of the two. But since then, in the last, 5 to 10 years, I've grown a huge passion for habitat improvement and just really giving back to the land and trying to create better habitat, native habitat for just for all wildlife and obviously deer and turkeys. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot in between, but yeah, it's been a blessing, man. I never would have thought I'd create or a career would be created out of these passions, but here I am today. So thankful for the country that I live in, and just yeah, the blessing of being able to do a lot of the things that you love for a living.
Yeah, well said. Great summary too of kind of how you got to this point and what you've been doing. You guys always caught my attention and probably everybody's attention with your niche about, you know, the more cinematic look, the more produced look. I mean, you guys were the first ones to really do that, besides the whole, I'm in a tree stand, I shot a deer, I grabbed the deer, show's over. Which is really cool. But I've done some videography and filming over the years, and that takes a lot of time and effort. Like, you have to be very, that's what I'm looking for, just intentional about everything you do to tell that story the way that you guys do. So that's cool that you kind of had Trevor there to help put that and you know, that production side on you guys. Did your family hunt? Did you grow up hunting as well?
Yeah,
I think I've seen your dad on the show a couple of times.
Yeah. So the hunting side, I should have mentioned that. I do a lot of hunting with my dad, still to this day, and he's the one that really instilled that into me. He introduced me to that at a very, very young age. Gosh, I mean, ever since I've been alive, he has hunted, and so, you know, at 5, 6, 7, 8, he was introducing me to it, and he would let me go along. I didn't actually start hunting myself probably till I don't know, 10 or 11, right in there. And it was definitely him. I got a twin brother, actually, and most people don't know that. And he would take both of us, and we'd just watch him do his thing until we were old enough to participate ourselves. And it just stuck with me. My brother still hunts some, but not obviously to the level that I do. And I don't know, he enjoys it, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it was just one of the things that stuck with me, and yeah, thankful for it. So I'm so glad I get to still go with him to this day. In fact, I mean, he lives basically across the road from me, and so we're engulfed in it. Like, we're always together doing stuff outdoors.
Do you guys have the typical twin, super close relationship? My daughters are twin 11-year-olds, so they're like, they say the same things at the same time. They think the same. It's pretty amazing. To
Actually,
have a built-in
no.
best friend. Okay.
Yeah, not now. We're not identical.
Okay.
I mean, we're
That
close.
could be some of it.
Yeah, nothing. Like, it's not like we don't have a bad relationship now that we both have families. I mean, anybody that has a family can relate, like, just constantly busy. But no, we're still close. I mean, we have a very close relationship. And when we were younger, yeah, we were obviously pretty much inseparable. But now that we're in our 30s, it's a little more hectic life. So, you know, yeah, we don't get to talk as much. But I mean, so my dad lives across the road. My brother lives right next door. So we're still close enough.
No kidding. That's handy too. And you have a few kids, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 little boys. One is 2 and the other just turned 6. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right in the woods with the rest of it. That's in the thick of it, I call it.
Yeah, I was just talking to a guy this morning, and I was like, I stopped by his office, and he's like, "What's been going on?" And I was like, "Anything and everything." I feel like I'm at the peak of busyness in my life right now, and it's good, but man, it can be stressful. So
yeah, that's for sure. Trying to fit everything in, and so your properties that you do a lot of your filming on, I know you guys go all over and have, but like the whitetail stuff in Missouri, is that like family property where your guys' farm you're right in your backyard type thing?
So there is one here that we do spend a lot of time on, a lot of food plots and stuff like that. And in fact, that's kind of the backstory to my brother and my parents, and actually even my sister. She lives next to my parents. We're all right here. That's my entire family. The
compound.
And we all, we all have our own little plots of land here, and then there's like a chunk of about 55 acres that my parents owned from the get-go back in the 90s, so I grew up right here, and that's where I started hunting, and to this day I still hunt. And food plot, and do all that and some habitat work. But I'd say like the suburban crawl has kind of pushed out this way a little bit. So it's, I have cameras here and monitor what's going on, but it's not where I do like, the heavy bulk of my hunting. The majority of that's in northern Missouri. My parents own land up there, and then I own some land out in Kansas and hunt out there. So that's where I spend the bulk of my time actually hunting. Here is just, we do the work, and if there's something here that we want to end up shooting, we'll do our best to try to kill, but it's still a little bit smaller plot of land. There's a large amount of hunting pressure around here just because of the small tracts that surround here. Anybody and everybody kind of hunts them, so it's hard to get to deer to a higher age structure. So it's all good. It's still fun, and a good place to just kind of tinker around and do stuff on that's right in your backyard.
Yeah, the reason I asked, I wonder which direction we should go with the farms for habitat discussion. Having one in your backyard is super helpful to get stuff done on a regular basis, but I would say most people who own farms don't live on them.
Right.
At least for the stuff that we're talking about, doing hunting and recreation. Tell me about your Kansas farm. How long have you had that?
So I went in on that with my parents and then another friend of ours out there in Kansas. And we've had that for, what is it? This will be the 4th season now of hunting it. So 2021 right in there. And man, as far as from habitat goes, we really haven't had to do much. It's just set up phenomenal. Like, it's got a ton of cover. It's pretty far west out there from here. It's not on the eastern side, so the average rainfall is much, I guess, smaller per year out there. So like the growing season is very, very slow and everything. So like burning and really timber, there's not a ton of timber. It's mainly cedars and plum thickets and stuff like that. We haven't had to do much. I'd say the only improvements that we have done there are added food with like an ag field. It's got phenomenal native grasses already established. Adding water, because water is a scarcity, has been something that we've done. But outside of that, we haven't had to do much. And it's kind of cool because like coming here or living here in the Midwest and in Missouri, the first thing I feel like most of us want to do is like, oh, we got to get in there, we got to do all this work, we got to change all of this and everything that we can as fast as we can. And out there, it's like, man, like we were dealt a great deck already with the native habitat. There's some minor improvements. Like, you don't really have to do too much if it's already there. And I feel like if you manipulate things there, especially like with fire and timber, the recovery and bounce back is far much slower because of the amount of rainfall than it would be here, that you could end up doing more damage than you really want to the farm. So yeah, it's nice that we haven't had to do much.
That's a great point. I don't know if we've ever covered that exactly. What's your annual rainfall average? Do you have a number or an idea?
It's a good question. They've been in drought ever since we've owned it. Like, wow. My buddy Cole that lives out there, he's made it very clear, like, this isn't like the ponds are drying up. There's like three ponds on it now that have water. I think there were at one point like 5 or 6, but the 3 that have water, well, 2 main ones. I guess one of the 3 actually is dry. So 2 only actually have water now. There's not much. I'd say they were like 2-acre ponds. Now they're maybe ½ acre. Wow. So yeah, like I don't know what the average rainfall typically is, but gosh, if I had to guess, 15 to 20 inches, maybe.
Oh man,
that's just a guess. But yeah, it's pretty rough right now. We've gotten some rain this spring, and it's definitely helped. Hopefully that continues, but we'll see. Yeah. We've added some water. We've also added some water tanks, and got some wells reworking. So there were old cattle wells that were there from I don't know how long ago, and they were not working anymore. We had a guy come in, fix them up, and got them going again. And they've been like a magnet. Kansas is a bait state, and I feel like out there, water is far more important than bait, especially with anybody and everybody around baiting. Like, well, if water is a huge scarcity, I mean, you can tell just putting a camera on these water tanks, like wildlife just flock to it. It's crazy.
Interesting. How big are these tanks? Is it like the typical cattle tank you've seen? Or are you guys putting any pond, sort of fancy pond and anything like that?
Haven't yet, no. Like since
Okay.
these were existing wells, just got them pumping again, and then just like I think one of them is like actually an old giant tractor tire cut in half. And then like like just your average, I don't know if I had to guess, they're probably maybe 500-gallon water tank, I had to guess. So
Okay.
kind of just dealt with whatever we had laying around there. I haven't put anything I haven't like hauled anything there to put build into a water tank yet, but I mean, yeah, there's plenty of different routes you could go with that.
Sure. I think they're pretty attractive too. Like you said, if you can get them in the right place and maybe have some cover around them. But I haven't owned a farm yet that has a lot of native grasses or anything on it yet. I've planted some, but that's got to be pretty neat just to have all that established already and manage it, with fire and whatnot. Got to be beautiful.
It is. It really is. And like coming from Missouri, like if we have a heavy, dense cedar thicket, I'm always like, oh man, we got to knock those cedars back, cut them back. And, I'd rather establish more grasses and some hardwoods and cut back on the cedars. Whereas out there, cedars are your friend because any cover that you can get, especially with any sort of timber, like it's very, very crucial to leave them. And so I haven't touched a cedar out there, especially in any native grasses. So it's quite a bit different, but it's beautiful, especially with those grasses growing in and then having a little bit of structure with those cedars mixed in or sprinkled throughout. Like it definitely holds a lot of deer.
Very nice. Let's go back to Missouri. You talked about what's normal to you is going in there, flipping a property around as fast as you can, getting stuff done. I would agree. I'm the same way here in Michigan, based on just what the timber is. What's your first 1, 2, 3 things that you guys have done to some of your farms to get them in the right direction?
I would say like going into a new farm, I'll use this one as an example. I had an 80-acre farm that I had bought. I think it was 2019. That was only a couple miles from my parents' farm in northern Missouri, and really, I think the first thing to establish was, well, I guess it depends on what time of year you buy it. I purchased that one I want to say in the wintertime. And so that allowed me plenty of time to like really examine it and figure out what I want to do for food plot strategies, timber, water, just tree stands, all of that, because I had, 6, 7, 8 months before I was going to be hunting it. And like the first thing that I looked at was like food plots. Where am I going to put food plots? That's what I was immediately thinking. And since then, I feel like my approach is much different. Yeah, I'm going to look for where I want to put food plots and hang my stands or put a blind and all that. Like if I drove onto there, that is probably the first thing I'm going to be thinking, like, how does it hunt? But I have, I would say, a much different eye now for that stuff. Like I look at the timber and figure out, or am trying to figure out like, okay, what's the cover like in Missouri? Like what's the cover like? How would I manipulate the timber to open up the canopy, to create more cover on the ground, more food on the ground? Because like, I feel like timber oftentimes gets overlooked and people are just like, oh, it's timber, we're good, that's cover. Yes, it is cover, but it depends on, the stand of timber based on how much cover there is and how much food there is on the forest floor. Because just because it has a canopy doesn't mean that there's ample amounts of food on the floor. So opening that up creates more on the floor. So just going in, I feel like going slow is obviously the smart thing. And then just figuring out how I can manipulate that timber and even the grasses as well to just help create more native cover on the floor to help hold more whitetails. Food plots anymore, I feel like are, I don't want to say easy because we still make many mistakes, but that's almost like the given when you go on to a farm. Like, oh, I've got open space here. Like I'm sure I can put a food plot in there. It's like, okay, that's great. How can I go even further into the timber and the grasses and to help improve those? Because they can take a little while to help establish. Whereas a food plot, you can turn that around within weeks sometimes. Whereas the timber and grasses, that can take much more time. So I don't know if there's one specific thing I'm going to be looking at, but there's definitely things that I tend to try not to overlook like I used to. Because if I went in and saw timber, I was like, oh, we're good to go there. Like, who cares? Like, I'll get to that someday. Whereas it takes a lot more time to help improve that. But I don't know if that answered all your questions or not, or your question or not, but that's kind of how I would approach it. It's much more intricate and elaborate when I go look at a farm now versus what I used to, the way that I used to look at it.
Yeah, you definitely answered. I'll have a follow up or two, I'm sure. But like to your point, I mean, I was the same way. First, I think everybody is kind of that way. To be honest, or very popular. Is hey, food plot in this open area, stand over here, and I'll walk through the timber to get to it, or whatever it may be. Um, and now it seems like 90% of the places that I've been, that people want to work on their farm and manipulate it and make it better. You have to call a forester first. It seems to be so popular. Like a lot of the Midwest and over here is just mature canopy now. It seems in the forest.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing that I should have added, I feel like also, I guess if you you may want to look at this before you even buy the farm, or I guess if it's hunting permission, not everybody's buying farms. Or leasing it, whatever it may be. If you have intentions to go, work on the farm that you're going to be hunt, whether it's permission, lease, or owning, I would try your best at first to address any invasive species, because if you start manipulating things, especially the canopy or grasses with fire, and you have invasive species, certain ones with fire, you could potentially be spreading them by going in and just opening up the canopy or burning, and I'm referring to on the burning side with like Sericea lespedeza. If you go and just burn that off and you're thinking you're going to have better native habitat and you have Sericea lespedeza in there already, you're most likely just spreading it. And then, yeah. So addressing invasive species, that would probably be right up there at the top of the list on trying to set up a farm properly.
I like that. Yeah, because you're saying if you open the canopy all up and then there's Russian olive or honeysuckle there, they take over before your natives can come up and try to get what the goal would be, right? So
great point. Like right here where I live, the first time we ever did any sort of TSI was 10, 12 years ago, and all we knew was like, open up the canopy. This is great. That's what we'll do, and everything's gonna flourish. Heavy presence of bush honeysuckle already here, and now it's crazy. It's everywhere because of that. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm dealing with a little bit of that right now with some autumn olive here. I didn't notice it as much. I bought this place and had it logged September of last year, so right before season. So I get out of here, guys. I'm trying to hunt. Hurry up, cut, move. Well, this year I go back in the spring now, and everything greening up is autumn olive. I didn't think I had a ton of it, and now I look around. It's just that's all I can see because I was looking for it, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to get some brush management in here or something like that. Have you ever used any NRCS stuff for any sort of the invasive treatment?
Yeah, my dad or my parents have on their farm in northern Missouri, and it helped tremendously. Actually, they used the NRCS program and they got funding for everything. So my dad was like, man, I'm gonna hire it out. So he hired out some crews to treat multifloral rows. They came in, gosh, it was like June. These guys were going through the farm, spraying all of it, and it was insane. I was like, man, I'm so glad you guys are doing that, not me, because ticks, all of it, just miserable. And then walking through a green, just open space like that in the timber, addressing all of these invasives, that's got to be tough to locate all of it, because most of it just blends. And they did a great job on that. And then they also did the same for Sericea lespedeza, like year one of the program, and it helped. But man, that stuff's relentless. It's come back pretty fiercely. So we still have plenty of work to do. I mean, I think it'll always be a battle, but I mean, that's part of it, I guess. So.
Yeah. I've heard nightmare stories about that. I don't have to deal with that here, but some friends of mine, Southern Ohio, they know a lot of that stuff. And so you have bush honeysuckle, lespedeza. What else do you have? You have autumn olive or Russian olive or anything like that too, I'd imagine?
Yeah, I bought autumn olive actually up there and here at my house. It hasn't been like a crazy problem. I mean, it's sprinkled here and there throughout. I haven't come across like a very heavy presence of it like I would with bush honeysuckle and Lespedeza. But yeah, that's we do have what's it called? Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name. It comes up here in like the next month, and it's a woody plant. It's mustard. Gosh, what's it called? Is it garlic mustard? Is that what it's called? No.
That's like a more like a herbaceous type plant. It might have a little woody in it, but yeah, it has a yellow leaf to it, a yellow flower.
That's right. It's not a woody plant. Yeah, it's garlic mustard. And
it comes up in the food plots everywhere, right? Just covers it.
Yeah, and I have it in the timber here.
Okay.
In a few different places, but I mean, gosh, you can pull it out of the ground. It's pretty easy to pull right out of the ground. Outside of that, I can't think of any others off the top of my head. Some might say that like an eastern cedar is invasive. It's obviously not native, but right here. And those are easy to manage. I don't consider those too much of an issue. So
I cannot wait to plant switchgrass with my downburst cedar. The DSA 60 drop cedar from Doug over at Downburst is an awesome unit. I planted all my food plots with it last year, and I will be planting my switchgrass with it this year. Switchgrass seed is extremely expensive, and I need to dial in exactly how much I put down for my screening I'm gonna do by the road, around the food plots, and I can dial in an exact amount of seed with the Downburst Cedar DS 860. Guys, check them out, downburstcedars.com. Tell them I sent you. Doug is the man there over at Downburst.
Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. I hope you all are doing well. So we got a lot of new things happening at Vitalize this year, and I wanted to highlight some of those. First off, we got a brand new website. We just added a chat feature to that website so you can get your answers to your questions in real time or as fast as possible. Those actually come directly to us so we can answer those questions, as well as has some auto answer features for those frequently asked questions. So trying to further increase the customer service that we offer. Number two is we are offering bundles now. So we got a lot of questions about people trying to piecemeal things together. So we took the guesswork out of it for you. You want a fertility bundle? Add that to your cart, and it gives you all of our natural fertility products in one place. We also are adding bulk pricing. So been asked about this in the past, and we've done some, kind of one-off things. But for those people who are buying, 5, 10, 15 acres, depending on the product, we're going to be offering some bulk pricing options for that. So right now we got that up on Nitro Boost. We also are going to have that up for the Clover, Chicory, and Oats offering, and might expand that to other offerings as well. Other things are new products. So we got our annual Clover. That's a fantastic product for frost seeding and also for this early spring, especially for those who still want to plant Nitro Boost. They want to get that annual Clover established. You could go in and drill your Nitro Boost right through it, broadcast through it, mow it off, spray it off, etc. We got our Premium Clover Plus. I'm using that on all my logging trails. That's a fantastic product. I'm also using that often with our Clover, Chicory, and Oats mix. So I might use Clover, Chicory, Oats in the first year on my logging trails like I did last fall. Let those oats come in, they'll die off, and then I can frost seed my Premium Clover and Chicory over top of those trails now. So those are areas where I want a perennial crop going. So I'm using that mix. And then we added our brassica mix as well. We, of course, have our seed feed and seed armor. Those are selling fantastic, and various other products, guys. So please check us out at vitalizeseed.com. We sure do appreciate you, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 2025.
Enough with the doom and gloom invasives. Let's talk fun stuff. Once you get that taken care of on your farm, how else are you manipulating the timber for like a hunting situation or anything like that? Do you have an example that might come up to where you did something special, some equipment? What was that? And let's hear about that.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're familiar with the Land and Legacy guys.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we had Matt come walk some of our, he's actually walked Missouri farms and our Kansas stuff with us over the last couple of years. And here in Missouri last year when he walked one of our places, he basically was like, look, you guys should consider putting some bedding thickets in across the farm. And they're not like designated like, oh, this is where the deer are going to bed. But it was like, if we put little hot spots sprinkled throughout the farm where we, knock out like 80 to 90% of the canopy in these like 1 to 2 acre areas, as you know, with felling trees, hinge cutting, and then flush cutting some. Almost kind of not like a mess, but like a lot of structure added to like these specific areas, run fire through it. You know, the reset that happens is pretty significant with the amount of sunlight hitting the floor. And in fact, one of them that we created this year wasn't far from a food plot, and I ended up killing a buck off of it this past fall in October. It was like mid to late October, and you know, I don't know to a fact like he was definitely laying in there. No, I don't really think that, but he came from there into a food plot, and I ended up killing him that evening. And so it was pretty cool to see. Like, the idea behind it was, like I said, just to have these kind of sprinkled out throughout the farm for mainly actually the rut, to where bucks could, instead of like going through the farm like, oh, well, no does in here, like swipe it through it pretty quickly. Now it's like, oh, I need to go over here and check this spot. Takes them a little more time to navigate through that. Then I need to go over here to this other slope, check it, and then so on throughout the farm. Or hopefully our game plan and strategy was that the bucks would spend more time on the farm during the rut, checking for does in these designated bedding thickets, and hopefully stay on the farm, and then us have a better chance of killing them, or maybe them making it through gun season, since we have a gun season here in the middle of the rut. But yeah, it's been fun. It's definitely enhanced cover in those certain areas, and the amount of food as well. I can't remember Matt's exact quote on that, like how much tonnage it was going to create in those specific areas as far as food on the forest floor, but it was, gosh, I mean, 5 times what was already there, I would say. So pretty cool concept, something new for us to try, and I feel like it's been a big help and worked well. But yeah, so that's one of the new projects. Creating obviously water out there in Kansas. I still intend to do the same here in Missouri. We have you know, obviously ample amounts of water here, but I feel like getting deer to use specific water sources would be more helpful for us for many reasons, you know, not just for inventory or killing them, but I don't know, just seeing what, you know, how they utilize them differently. Because like, for one instance that I can think of that comes to mind, I haven't even put the water hole in yet. I have intentions to do so soon. There is already like just a natural little pond. It's probably, I don't know, the size of a swimming pool near the stand. It's about 100 yards from the stand that we've hunted. That's on the edge of a food plot. The bedding's right up on this hillside above it, and the deer tend to always go over the water instead of just a food plot. And the water's almost downwind, and it's like, man, why? Yeah, it's great that the water's there. Why don't I have water right here? So maybe they'll utilize this and stay closer to the food. And so yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent on that, but yeah, between the bedding thickets and water, those are kind of the main things that we've done here in Missouri to help enhance our habitat and hunting strategies and whatnot.
No, I love tangents. I can picture your setup there, especially with like, why that water hole, right? You know, if you had one in front of you, still, would they use that one instead? Would they still try to cut back behind you? You know, are you gonna drop some more timber to try to block them off? What's your thought with this new plan of yours?
Yeah, so that's a great point right there. I don't think there's much that I could do as far as to cut them off, because there's really not much timber between our stand and the water. But there is another spot where I just Chandler and I went in, a guy that films with me, we went in and created a bedding thicket on this ridge line. It's a south facing slope, so you'd hunt it on a south wind. We're just on the very top of the ridge. Your wind blows off the north side of it. And so we created this acre and a half of bedding thicket out in front of it to hopefully help slow the deer down during the rut and kind of do their thing in front of us. And, you know, bucks aren't just cruising through real fast. They got to spend their time right in front of it looking for does or whatever. And then on the backside, we hinged all of these trees almost like a V. You picture the way your wind would blow, and like, you know, it varies a little bit as gusts do each day. And this is like a southwest what the stand is set up for. And so we basically just V'd it with hinge cuts all the way down. So deer, hopefully the idea is that they won't be able to cut downwind and get our wind, because there was a trail right behind us where I thought our wind would blow over the top of the deer, but some of the deer still catch us and spook. So by, hinging those trees and knocking them down right there, we basically created a blocker to ideally stop deer from traveling downwind of us there, and travel in front of us, hopefully. Time will tell next fall if that works out.
Oh, I love that stuff. That's like the fun finesse work after the loggers come through and blow everything up. That's the fun stuff that like you and a buddy can go out, or me and a buddy can go out and get done and really start like trying to hunt these deer whenever you're cutting. Still thinking about the hunting,
Yeah. And you just sparked a thought in my mind, back to the NRCS stuff. When my parents enrolled their farm in NRCS program, part of that was also a lot of TSI on the farm, because it's mainly timber. Most of it is. I think there's only probably 15 to 20% is ag. The rest is open savanna and mostly timber. And so they had these loggers come in that they hired, not this past winter, but the winter before, and they knocked out like 60 acres, I think, in 3 days. And I was like, golly, I've done my fair share of it, but I am nowhere that quick. And it was just phenomenal to see. Like, the majority of it too, they fell, which is fine. I don't have any issue with it. At first I was like, holy cow, it looks like a giant mess. But now as that stuff is kind of compressed some, it's like, actually there's a lot of structure. And we're waiting till next winter to run fire through there for the first time. So it should be exciting.
Wow, that is fast, man. 3 days. Is it where they did that have like a big buncher grappler with a saw type thing where they grab and cut, or all hand fell?
I wasn't there that day, but it appeared all hand saw. There was I would have been able to tell actually if there was any sort of heavy equipment, because I would have seen tracks and all that. No, this was all with saws. I think because the neighbor stopped over and saw them, I think there were 5 or 6 guys, but still, like, they had to be flying through it. So
yeah, up here it takes like a year to first get somebody to show up, and then when they do show up, another year for them to get done and get their crap out of there. That sounds like a good crew. Whoever they are, I'm sure they're booked out for years.
Yeah. My dad would know. I don't recall the name of who they were, but yeah, I was super impressed. Pretty phenomenal. And I feel like my thing is like, whenever I'm doing it, I'm going through real slow, meticulous, looking at everything where it's probably not needed.
Right.
Just when it's like your own deal, you're like, oh, I should have cut that one, maybe. Oh wait, I need to look at these ones, where those guys are just like.
That's very true.
So.
You mentioned fire a couple times through the timber or through one of your bedding thickets. We call them wildlife cuts. Same idea, just creating diversity pockets within the monotonous forest, right? Love that idea. I totally love that idea. When do you run fire through there? At which point of the creation of that cut?
So with those bedding thickets, the ones last year we didn't complete until, we did it in June, which was horrible. So we followed up with fire on those this past winter. And then the ones that I only got to one this past winter as well to cut. And the one that I was referring to that we hinged behind it, we ran fire through that one immediately. Since I'm so new to it, I don't know. I know those, as far as like the bedding thickets, I'm new to that. I was like, I want to get fire through there as soon as we possibly can. And I knew those areas hadn't had fire in them in the last 2 to 3 years. So I wasn't too worried about doing any sort of crazy damage. Not that you really could, I guess, because you're already cutting down most of the timber in those little spots. So yeah, but yeah, it's as soon as possible for me on that. But like I said, for the TSI that those guys came through on that 60 acres, they did a pretty heavy TSI, I feel like, and they dropped a lot of timber, so there was a lot sitting on the floor. I've been waiting because I'm like, well, I kind of want fire to consume a lot of that. So I'm letting that wood kind of decay before we go in and run fire through it.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. I like all the tops being there for cover for the deer bed up against them and gives me some stuff to hide behind when I'm sliding through there. But also, it's still shading out the forest floor right there too. So it's kind of like, when do you do it? You know?
Yeah, and it's like that's a great point. It's hard for me not living there. My chances of burning are limited, and so when I do go there to burn next year, it's almost like this is my window. Like I'm gonna burn. Like if humidity is below 50% and I've got some wind, I'm probably gonna burn it. If it's drier than I want it to be and the humidity's lower than I anticipated, I'm still probably gonna do it, and it may end up consuming more than I want. But
okay,
I don't know. I'm kind of just going with the cards that I'm dealt on that end. But I still want to get fire to go through there just to see what the reset does to that forest floor. And I mean, they dropped, I would say, out of all the trees that they put a saw to, I bet they dropped 80 to 90% of them. So there's a lot of trees laying on the ground. There's no way it's going to consume all of that, I don't feel like. So should still have tops left.
that's a good point. Didn't think about that before. When you're running through this stuff, how do you measure your success through time? Are you with your 80 acres or your northern Missouri property or any of that? How far along are you? How many years in? Have you had success? Are you halfway there? Are you a tenth of the way there? How do you kind of measure that?
That's a good point. There's just so much work that I feel like always needs to be done. I don't know that I'll ever feel like I'm satisfied. Like and then I feel like once you get to that point where like, wow, I've actually touched every single acre of this farm, and manipulated it or enhanced it the best to my ability at that point, then it's just maintenance from there. So I don't know, I don't know if I'll ever feel like, oh, I finally did it. But I guess every year there's a sense of satisfaction where like, look, we came in here, we did what we could do, what we had time to do. We met most of the goals. We never meet them all. We work to the best of our ability to improve it. It's better than it was before. So that's really the mindset that I have every year going into it. But never do I ever feel like, wow, we actually got it all done.
Yeah.
But that's the fun part
I
of
would
it.
agree.
That's the fun part of it, I feel like. So yeah.
I guess now that I think about it, it's kind of a loaded question because there's really, you're never done and there's always more to do. Yeah, some farms I guess become more maintenance type projects versus a raw blank slate, I guess. But yeah, I don't ever feel like I'm caught up. So
yeah, that's the beauty of it though, is like you do what you can and it's better than, I don't know, we're learning every year. So I feel like if we weren't learning, it would get stale and I'd be like, well, been there, done that. I'm done with it. Like I'm going to move on to something else and I wouldn't be interested in it anymore. So
sure.
Yeah.
Are there any certain things that you hire out versus try to DIY or vice versa? Are there certain things where you maybe experience or equipment or anything like that you normally have a go-to guy for?
Just the TSI stuff anymore. I enjoyed having Matt die there because my parents' farm, we've had that for I think 11 years now. And, like after, 10, 11 years, you think, oh yeah, I got a pretty good handle on this farm, how it sets up, how it hunts, what needs to be done, what's been done. And I was like, oh, it's good. Like we've got it figured out. Having a fresh set of eyes on it like that was mind-blowing because he'd never set foot on the farm before. And to just have him go through and be like, well, okay, you guys are doing this, but why wouldn't you do this here instead? And I was like, wow, I never thought about that. The whole bedding thicket thing, that was eye-opening. I had already began on kind of like basically eradicating a lot of these cedar thickets. They were just a monoculture. Matt opened up my eyes to like, okay, yeah, do your best to eliminate that monoculture, but you might want to leave some structure there. Because my whole mindset was like, this is 5 acres of cedar, let's eliminate, 99.9% of them. Whereas he's like, actually, you may want to kind of think about leaving a couple of them sprinkled throughout because you're going to still have some structure. Whereas, I'm thinking, oh, well, all we need is grass here. And that wasn't true. But yeah, as far as like hiring stuff out, that was very helpful. The TSI guys. And then I remember this when we first got the place for thinking, all right, we're going to go in and do all of our food plots. We're going to plant as much grain as we can get in there. And anymore, we don't plant any grain. We do our green food plots, so our clovers and brassicas and alfalfa, stuff like that. And then on the ag fields, we just pay the farmer, obviously, to farm it for income. And then we put money back in, and we're like, from the income on the farm, and we're like, leave those standing crops, like leave a couple acres in this field, a couple acres in that field. And those are basically our standing grain food plots. So it's at my house here, we still do a lot of grain food plots on our own, as well as other places around here. But for places like the farm that's too far away to haul equipment or even just be there all the time, we pay the farmer to just leave standing food rather than break our necks and backs trying to manage it all on our own. And also with those smaller grain plots like that, like planting 2-3 acres or less, you have to fence them if you have any significant deer herd there, and that is a pain unless you live there to like be trying to keep the deer out. So yeah, having someone else manage that or handle that has been very helpful. I don't think there's been anything else. We hired crews to do, the invasives, like the Lespedeza and the multifloral rose, but that's about it really that I can think of right off the top of my mind.
Sure. No, I'm getting to the point now where in my life, which is why I thought of the question, is just like, go spend 2 weekends, 3 weekends getting something done, or if somebody with the right equipment, come do it like that. And it's like, yeah, it's just, you got to weigh out time, and with kids and sports and everything else, it's just, now I wonder what like for instance, I'm thinking about putting in a couple culverts along my road that's kind of wet. It's really clay, and loggers kind of trench it up. Like, all right, well, if I run a little mini excavator, buy some culverts off Marketplace, and then putting this whole thing together, and I'm like, you're gonna be out there all summer doing this, or somebody can come in there for a couple grand and get it done. It's just, I don't know, kind of where my brain's starting to tick to sometimes.
Absolutely. That's another one that, we've had to hire that out, dozer work, and like drainages that had washed out, and or like crossings, across creeks and stuff, and culverts have washed out, and we've had to hire that stuff out. But I'm like you, I've talked to my dad. I'm like, what? Maybe we should get an excavator, buy our own dozer or loader or something. And he's like, you kidding me? Like, who's going to work on it when it breaks? And it's like, yeah, that's true.
Yep. I sent my wife a used dozer the other day off of Marketplace. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, the roads wash out. You could fix this with it. I could clear new food plots. And she's just like, come on. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
If it does break, I would have no clue. And then trying to, that's probably not a good idea. But thank God there's people with more wisdom in their brain that don't think about it like you or I do. Because I'd be like, all right, I got a half working dozer now. This is great.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we do have a Bobcat.
Oh, there you go.
That helps out in many ways. But like, even then, things have broken on it. And my dad's pretty handy. He can fix some things. But even on top of that, like, parts are expensive. So, yeah, I don't know. It only goes so far. It's like, you got to hire some stuff out. Like, you can't. I know most of us men think we can do it all, but you can only do so much.
That's very true. One more question on kind of the habitat implementation or manipulation. What grasses are you planting, and how are you planting them? I guess the types or the combination of types, and then which method are you using to plant them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually have to look that up because
Okay.
I don't remember everything that was in in our native grass blend that we have been planting. We hold on just a second, because this is a really great topic that I'd like to spend a couple minutes on.
I know I just ordered some RC Big Rock switchgrass for more of a screening type situation from a road. And I've always been interested in CRP, but I've never had the place to put that in, or like the acreage to convert into that yet. So it always amazes me, and I think it's gorgeous. You know, Iowa, I see a lot of it and this and that, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm still more heavy timber over here.
Yeah. And I was saying the same about our farm in northern Missouri. Is most of it is heavy timber, and even that 80 that I had not far from there, it was mainly timber with some grass, but not much. But the grasses that we've already had the grasses that are there. They're pretty phenomenal for the most part. Like, just dealt a great card there with what was already there. Great native species. But one of the ag fields that we have it's actually all road frontage. Well, half of it is road frontage, and obviously the other half is timber. Well, on that road frontage, we knocked out, I would say like the first 20 yards of it, and drilled in native grasses. And that's what I was wanting to look up, was this native seed blend. And it's just like really just a mix. And so we use that not only for cover, for wildlife to utilize, but also for like a buffer. So like a screen, essentially.
Yeah.
I've gone through the whole food plot screen thing over the last 15 years and done it in many places, and it's worked great. And it does work great on small areas where you're putting in I don't know, there's tons of different ones out there that you can try that are just annuals, but I feel like going the native route is much better. And so with this blend, I think, what do we have here? We've got big blue stem Indian grass, little blue stem alfalfa, annual lespedeza, and then native pollinator forb mix. And so with the alfalfa and annual lespedeza in there, that was just to basically get something established quickly, because in most of these areas that we are drilling this in, we're drilling them in March, maybe early April, where you've got pretty barren cover already because we've intentionally killed it off. And so to help minimize erosion, we want something to come in quickly with the alfalfa and annual lespedeza and just help stop erosion, hold moisture, and allow time for the big blue stem, little blue stem, and Indian grass to come in, as well as those native pollinator forbs. And it also, with that alfalfa being in there, creates a little bit of food and diversity. So it's been awesome. The deer use it quite a bit. The turkeys even. We hunted this field that I'm talking about a few times this spring, and turkeys would go over there towards the road to this buffer strip to just go hang out every day, all throughout the middle of the day. I don't know. I would assume maybe the hens are nesting in there. And it's been awesome to see. And it's helped deer stay comfortable out there in that ag field, because before, like, a car drove by, they're all heads up, freak out, run off. Now, they may be able to hear the car, they can't see it, so they don't pay too much attention to that anymore. So yeah, I love it. That's what we're doing with that. Yeah, it's been pretty awesome.
I mean, I've been watching for quite a while, and I guess I didn't know you did this many different projects. I knew, like, Shawn's going to have a good discussion for sure, but you've done a little bit of everything when it comes to this.
Try to, yeah. I definitely don't know it all. That's for sure. I've learned a lot in the last 12 to 15 years of doing this stuff, and I have plenty more to learn. It's all really just trial and error, and then seeing what other people are doing, what works for them or what doesn't work for them, and just talking to people like we're doing right now. And it's been a fun ride. I would say I have said this, that these habitat improvement projects are just as much fun to me as hunting anymore. Like, I enjoy it just as much. It's like a whole different change of pace, and keeps me busy throughout the year on the farm, and it's enjoyable. I love it. So
well said. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, and I want to hit you with a couple rapid fire real quick, and then I'll leave it to you to wrap up with whatever you want to leave us with. So if you're ready, I'm going to go.
Sure.
Okay. Your favorite state to hunt in and why? You guys have hunted all over.
I would say Kansas, just because of the diversity of the landscape, the age structure of the deer, and just the one buck. I really like that. I think it's great for deer management, in my opinion.
Okay. One piece of gear you'd never leave home without.
My bow.
Yeah, there you go. That's a
if
good
you're talking
one.
about hunting, if you're referring to hunting.
Well, my next follow-up is going to be a little bit different. It's your favorite piece of habitat, gear, implement, something, if you know, number one go-to.
Fire. It's
Nice.
It is the cheapest and most useful management tactic out there, in my opinion. It changes the landscape.
Okay. Food, water, or cover? What's most important to you if you had to pick one?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say cover. Absolutely. Yeah, cover.
Are you more of a if you could prefer, tree stand guy, saddle guy, blind guy? What's your method of hunting there?
Tree stand, just because that's what I grew up in. I enjoy it. I've hunted out of blinds plenty of times, still do to this day, but it almost kind of takes you out of that element a little bit. So I love being in a tree. Nothing against saddles whatsoever. I just haven't spent enough time in one yet. I'm open to it. I have one, in fact. I just haven't used it much.
Last but not least, your favorite venison recipe. Favorite way to do it.
I'm a simple Simon guy. I'm not a great cook, but I eat deer with ground deer. This is so basic. This is me. Mixed with beef fat, and I eat it every single day with my eggs. Every single day. So sorry,
it's a good healthy meal.
It is, and that's what I enjoy. So I'm pretty basic on that end.
All right. Well, if anybody wants to tag along with what you got going on a day-to-day basis and see what you guys do, I'll throw a bunch of the info in the intro, but where can people come get a hold of you?
You can find us on our website, heartlandbowhunter.com, or as well on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We don't really use X that often. Pretty much anywhere, I guess. You can find us on the Outdoor Channel as well. We also do. I meant to mention this earlier with we're doing like a whitetail workshop the last week of May 1st. I think it's May 30th. May 30th. Does May go 31 days or 30?
Yes, it does. It's my birthday. That's the only reason 31st? I know. Yes.
Okay. 31st and June 1st, whitetail workshop in northern Missouri at our farm with the Land and Legacy guys. We just have a handful of guys that are coming to that. So if anybody's interested, you can find that information out on our website. So I appreciate you having me on, Jared.
Anytime. Thanks for your time. Keep in touch, and good luck this fall. May your arrows fly true, buddy.
You too.
All right. Thanks, Shawn. Take care.
Thanks a lot, man. You too.
Of course. See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to the Habitat Podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming back every week to get this awesome Habitat content. And we would appreciate it if you went to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us continue to grow and trend in the right direction, attract new listeners, and help us provide better content in the future. Guys, we have a website full of resources. We have a blog on the website. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all linked up at habitatpodcast.com. Our land plan services, merchandise, decals, hats, t-shirts, and I give away a free 5-inch decal to anyone who leaves us a review on Apple iTunes. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our partners, Downburst Cedars, Vitalize Seed Company, Morse Nursery, Packer Max Cultipackers, Stealth Outdoors, First Light Latitude Outdoors, United Country Midwest Lifestyle Properties, and Exodus Outdoor Gear. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.